All right. I think there were so many people that are in here now because we have more people in here than we do sometimes for the element chats. So I think people will probably be showing up off and on in the next, hopefully 10 to 15 minutes, and we'll have, we already have a lot of people, so this is really exciting. Welcome. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Lizabeth, and I have been on the Optavia program since June of 2022, and in that time, I've lost 158.4 pounds as of this morning. I followed the 5-in-1 program, and most of you know that I followed the program to a T. I never hacked a fueling, not one single time. I only used water to make my fuelings. I never split a lean and green. I don't think I ever split a lean and green. I make everything myself, so I do very few processed items with my lean and greens. I buy just straight up protein sources and vegetables and cook my own thing.
Be sweet. Be sweet.
So that is kind of where I come from. I drank a gallon of water every day. I limited my movement because anytime I tried to add exercise, my weight loss would stall. But in 67 weeks on the Optavia 5-in-1 program, I recorded a weight loss 65 out of 67 weeks. So there's something to be said for following the program. That's kind of where I come from. I had a goal weight in mind, and at about 60 weeks or so, started just to experience diet fatigue. I was just, 60 weeks is a long time, and I was just really tired of the focus and the energy, and decided that I was going to give myself, instead of a weight goal, I was just going to say this, I'm going to go until I get to this date, and then I'm going to transition. And when I hit that date, which was September the 25th, I was only 3 pounds from my goal weight. Now, my goal weight is not a BMI weight, and I will talk about that in just a minute. But that was kind of where I hit that goal weight, that date, and said, now it's time for me to transition. So I wanted to talk kind of about my process and what I did, what the Optavia program says to do for transition, which is what I did. And then just a little bit into how I established maintenance and what was going to work for me for maintenance. And then I write down questions as you have questions, or interrupt me when I'm talking if I say something that you have a question about. I want to be able to answer as many questions as I can, because I know a lot of people have a lot of questions. If you are still on the 5-in-1, I do want to say, make sure that that is your primary focus, and that you're putting your energy and your focus into the weight loss portion. The knowing about transition is great. I think it's helpful to kind of do some research ahead of time, just to kind of get an idea of what is going to be there, what you're looking towards when you get to transition. But don't be distracted by that, and don't be so focused on transition that you are distracted from putting your energy into getting to your goal weight, which is why you're on this program to begin with. So when do you start transition? So you can start in a couple of places. You can wait until you get to your goal weight, or you can start before you get to your goal weight, which is what I did. Now, you kind of have to determine. We were having a discussion in one of the Facebook groups today about like what is actually a good goal weight, and how do you know if you have lost too much or you haven't lost enough. And for me, one of the things that I did was I looked at BMIs, like what is BMI and what does it mean and what does it not mean. And a couple of articles that I read, one of them was by the CDC, and I'm just going to kind of give you some of the information that I pulled out. The CDC has an article, it's a PDF that you can download about BMI, and it's actually written for doctors. And one of the things that it talks about is that a BMI is a great way to measure. It's a great, what do they say? I'm going to read to you what they say. BMI is a reasonable indicator of body fat for both adults and children. Because BMI does not measure body fat directly, it should not be used as a diagnostic tool. Instead, BMI should be used as a measure to track weight status in populations and as a screening tool to identify potential weight problems in individuals. So to me, what that says right there is that the BMI is a kind of a starting place, but it is definitely not the be all end all. And it shouldn't necessarily be the number that we are so hyper-focused on that we forget that our bodies are all very different. We all have different medical issues. It depends on your, somebody who is athletic, and it can have a higher BMI because they have more muscle mass, which means they weigh more, than a person who is small but has a lot of fat, and they could have a very low BMI and they are more unhealthy with all that fat than the athletic person who actually has a higher BMI. So it's not necessarily, this is not a normal meeting, Mary Jo. This is just happens to be something that I scheduled just as a way to talk, for people to get together and talk about transition. So I don't do regular meetings other than about every other week we discuss the elements from the life book. So I don't do like a normal weekly meeting. Don't talk me into that because I need some Monday nights to myself because Monday's a busy day. Anyway, but it is being recorded. So if you can't stay for the whole thing, we will definitely have it posted so you can check it out later too, or watch it again later. So anyway, so BMI, I would say, I would use that as a starting place, and I kind of use that as a starting place. But for me, I also looked at when was the last time I felt good in my skin, and that I felt comfortable in clothes. And I went back to my wedding day, and I knew how much I weighed at my wedding day, and I knew that probably was not realistic to get exactly back to that weight because I'm quite a bit older than I was. So
again. Yeah, so I had looked at them.
So I decided that I was going to go about 10 to 15 pounds above that and kind of see how I felt. So that's where I set my goal weight. And when I started transition, I was 3 pounds above that. I am now 4 pounds below that. So I've lost weight in the transition process, which I'll talk about that in just a minute. I would expect in the next 6 to 8 weeks that I will drop another 4 to 5 pounds and kind of hang out about 10 pounds below my goal weight, which is really where I want to be. That just gives me that cushion. My goal weight is now my max weight, and I will not allow myself to go above that weight ever again. So I'm going to try to stay down below that. And so that's what I chose to do. So when I hit September 25th, I started the transition process knowing that I was not quite where I needed to be, but I was happy there. I knew that if I never lost another pound, I could live with myself at that weight. I am able to walk into any store and buy clothes. I am, I feel comfortable looking at myself in a mirror and in pictures, and I'm not trying to hide in the back. So that's kind of where I am. When you think about the 5-in-1 program, for all intents and purposes, when you're on transition, you're still technically 5-in-1, although you're not eating 5 fuelings every single time. You are still kind of following that process. And really the 5-in-1 helps you to establish a lifelong habit of eating 6 times a day. If you, and that's one thing that I really want to stress, is that if you are going to keep the weight off,
Somebody on
that is
transition.
something that you are going to have to continue to do for the rest of your life. Realistically, as much as possible, eating 6 times a day, continually fueling your body. Otherwise, weight is going to come back on. So one of the things that is in the life book, The Habits of Health, and we talked about it a couple of weeks ago, is that, or maybe it was last week when we met, that 100% of weight loss programs will fail. 100% of them will fail if you don't make permanent lifestyle changes, right? You can do Weight Watchers, you can do keto. You know, we've all been on other diets and lost the weight and then gained the weight back. And we do that, we gained the weight back because we didn't make permanent lifestyle changes. There are things that I have had to regretfully permanently remove from my diet. I know that for the most part, I am not going to eat bread or rice or pasta. Again, if ever at all, and if I do, it will be very rarely. I just know that because I know those are the things that cause me to gain the weight, and I'm not willing to put the weight back on. I'm not willing to do this again. It was a lot of work. I don't want to go through this again. I would rather eat 6 times a day and be careful with what I eat so that I can keep the weight off, and know that if I can get 10 pounds below my goal weight, then on Thanksgiving, if I have something, I don't like pumpkin pie, so I'm not really sure what I would have, but there's, if I had some apple pie, which I do like, and I gain 5 pounds the next day because I had a few things for Thanksgiving dinner, that all is not lost. I know that if I eat 6 times a day and I limit my calories, I restrict my calories, then the weight will come right back off. So I'm not concerned about that because I've made those lifestyle changes. So you continue to eat 6 times a day. And if I just want to really stress the importance of follow the transition program. Don't say, oh, well, I'm done 5-in-1, I'm just going to get into maintenance, because you're going to end up gaining the weight back. There is a plan, and it's really, really easy to follow the plan. In the new Optavia guide, so if you have the Optavia guide that was published, on the back of it, it actually says 2022 on the back of it. And it's they probably haven't done another one in 2023, but in that one, there's a whole section in the newer version all about transition, and it explains the whole transition process. It gives sample menus. It also gives the healthy exchange list, and that was not in the guide when I came on in June of 2022. But it is in there now. So if you have that guide, if you don't have that guide, you can buy it for like $3 in your next box from Optavia, or you can download it and get the PDF on your phone and be able to access it. So when you are on the 5-in-1 program and you're eating 5 fuelings a day, and you're eating 1 lean and green meal that has 4 to 6 ounces of, or 5 to 7 ounces of protein, 3 servings of greens, you are getting no more than 950 calories. All right, that's just based on the fuelings themselves are 90 to 110 calories. So if you had 5 of them that were 110 calories, that's 550 calories. And your lean and green meal should be between 250 and 400 calories max. 400 calories should be the max of your lean and green. And if you did your max lean and green and your max fuelings, that's 950. So the maximum calories you've been having during the day, if you're following the program correctly, is 950 calories. When you move to transition, so you come to transition, and the first week of transition, you're adding a cup of vegetables. So somewhere in the day, somewhere among those 6 fuelings is a cup of vegetables. It's 2 servings of greens. Your choice. They really should come from the vegetable conversion chart. So I've heard some people say, oh, this is when you can add starchy vegetables. And I would caution you against that. I think if you were to ask nutrition support, they would say, use the vegetables on the list. I'm pretty sure in Habits of Health, and I could have looked it up. I didn't think to look it up. I'm pretty sure that he says to choose from the green section of the vegetables, which is the lower glycemic vegetables, and not sweet potatoes, Brussels sprouts, all of those other, which I had tonight for dinner, sorry. But maintenance first meal, and it was a special one. 2 of those. And so the first week, on that week, the first day, I thought, oh, well, I do, my typical third fueling was the potato fueling that I would, in the first thing in the morning, I whisked in like 12 ounces of boiling water in a thermos, sealed it up, and I had potato soup, and I loved it. I absolutely loved that potato soup. So I thought, well, what I'll do is I'll just add my vegetables to that potato soup and just have a vegetable potato soup. So I did that the first day, and I added broccoli to that, a cup of broccoli to that, and it was lots of broccoli. And I was so full for the rest of the day, and that I basically had to force myself to eat. And but I did, I followed the program, and I ate, but I felt I was so full, and it just didn't feel good. And so what I started doing the next day was I just did a half of a cup of vegetables in my soup, and then fueling number 4 in the afternoon, I just had a half a cup of cherry tomatoes or half a cup of cucumbers. So I kind of split that up into 2 over 2 fuelings. And I was just trying to divide my calories up, spread the calories out over the day instead of lumping all of the new calories into one area. So that is one thing that I handled that so much better for the rest of the week. And by the time I got, I was still felt a little full for a couple of days, but not as bad as I had that first day. The other thing to keep in mind is your body, at least for me, I was 67 weeks on 5 and 1. So for 67 weeks, I had no more than 950 calories a day. That's, almost a year and a half, right? A year and 3 months. It's a long time for my body to adjust to only having that many calories. So anytime I added anything, it was a little bit hard to add calories. But I did that. So then week 2, so you're doing week 1, you're doing 5 fuelings, and you're just adding that cup of vegetables. When you get to week 2, you're going to drop a fueling. So now you're down to only 4 fuelings, and you're adding a cup of fruit. Hallelujah. Week 2, you get to add the fruit, and it's wonderful. And what I decided to do for that was I decided to drop my very first fueling of the day. And instead of an Optavia fueling, I did a cup of fruit for that fueling right there, right? So I was doing a cup of fruit as my first fueling. And then I did a regular fueling for number 2. That was where I always had oatmeal. And then fueling number 3 was my potatoes and half a cup of vegetables. Fueling 4 was a shake or a bar or something and a half a cup of vegetables, lean and green, and then my brownie, chocolate chip cookie, whatever I did for dessert. So I was down to 4 fuelings, and I added the fruit. So that's also another really easy thing. It It's not hard. It really is not hard. You don't have to do anything other than drop a fueling and add something else in. Now, if you are diabetic, the fruit one gets skipped altogether. So I would say if you're diabetic, you do another week of 5, just do another 5 fuelings and the extra cup of vegetables. So you kind of do that for 2 weeks. And then you can move to the dairy, which is week 3. You are still doing 4 fueling. So if you're diabetic, you're going to drop to 4 then. If you were not diabetic and you dropped the one the last week, you still stay at 4 that week, and you're adding in a cup of dairy. That can be low fat or fat-free dairy. So it could be a cup of milk. If you like to drink milk and you want to do that, you can. You can do, this is kind of controversial. Some people say you can't do cottage cheese, and I say you can, because cottage cheese is dairy. And so is yogurt. So yogurt, fat-free yogurt, is a great thing to use. I also did low-fat cottage cheese, and someone said, well, cottage cheese is a lean. Well, so is yogurt. So that there's no real argument there. You do you. If it's a dairy and it's low fat or fat free, I think it's fine. What I did was, at that point, I did a half of a cup of yogurt as my first fueling with a half a cup of fruit. So I'm going to divide my dairy and my fruit and my vegetables all into half cup servings instead. So I did half yogurt, half a cup of yogurt, half a cup of fruit as fueling number 1. And then I moved my other half a cup of fruit into my oatmeal. So I did an oatmeal fueling as fueling number 2 with a half a cup of fruit. So that took care of my fruit for the day. Then fueling number 3 was my potato soup and half a cup of vegetable. Fueling 4, I kind of beefed it up a little bit and I either did a half a cup of cottage cheese with the other vegetable and another fueling. I did that sometimes, and sometimes I did the half a cup of yogurt with my last fueling of the day. So a couple of times I tried mixing. I know people say they mix the brownie mix or the cookie into 2 good yogurt, and I tried that a couple of times. I was not a fan of it. I wasn't a fan of the texture of it, but people like it, so more power to them. But that's week number 3. So you're down to 4 fuelings, and you've added in a cup of vegetables, a cup of fruit, a cup of dairy. All right. So now you've really introduced, except for grains, you've introduced everything back into your diet that you had taken out before. Fruit, dairy, I mean, you did have some dairy, but this gives you a little bit more dairy, the vegetables. And then when you get to week 4, weeks 4, 5, and 6 are the same. And what that does, and first of all, each week as you add something, you're basically adding 100 calories. So you've got from 950 to 1050 on week 1, 1150 on week 2, 1250 on week 3, and then you're at about 1350 in week 4, 5, and 6. And you're going to sit at that amount to give your body a chance to adjust at this point to that increase in calories. And so on week 4, you drop down to only 3 fuelings, and you add in 4 to 6 ounces of lean protein. So I did tuna a lot. I did some chicken breast. I did some ground venison, and then 1 serving of whole grains. Now, this was the tricky part for me, because for me, carbohydrates are my kryptonite. That's why I weighed over 300 pounds, because I have no filter when it comes to grain.
What's silly Sadie doing? She's upside down.
So I took a hard look at the list of starches, and on page 53 in the guide, is it 53? Yeah, 53 in the guide, there are several options that they give you here. A slice of bread, make sure that it's whole grain bread, 2 slices of reduced calorie bread, half of a 6-inch pita, a 6-inch tortilla, a quarter of a naan. And there's just a bunch of stuff on there. Like half of an English muffin, a mini bagel,
Recording in
quarter
progress.
of a cup of granola. It does have starchy vegetables on here, although I would caution you to wait on those. What I ended up using was Wasa crisp breads. They are a Swedish or Norwegian or something. You buy them in the cracker aisle. They come in a paper, kind of a paper bag, sort of. And they're about this big, and they're really crunchy, and they're really good, and they have a bunch of different flavors. And you can have 2 of them for like 70 calories. They're not crazy in carbs, and I feel like I can control that. I can say, all right, I'm allowed to have 2. I can't have 3. I can't have 5. I can't sit there with the bag and just eat them. This is what I get, and I'm able to control that. Do not give me, my coach was like, oh, but you can have sourdough bread. Okay, some people can have sourdough bread, but if you put give me a loaf of sourdough bread, I will eat the whole thing. I readily admit I have zero control when it comes to bread. I love bread, and because of that, I just can't allow myself to go there. But there are things like, whole
And I got it on again.
lentils,
How'd you get me on?
Rice cakes. You just kind of find what's going to work for you and add that whole grain. You do that one time. So what I did was I added those Wasa crackers to my 3rd fueling of the day. So I was now down to yogurt and fruit as my first fueling, oatmeal and fruit as my 2nd fueling. My 3rd fueling then turned into a tuna with lettuce, cucumbers, tomatoes, kind of salad-y kind of thing. I put all my vegetables right there, and the Wasa crackers. Then fueling number 4 was some kind of some fueling. So it could have been sometimes it was a bar, sometimes I made like brownies or cookies or biscuits or whatever, and I did my other half cup of dairy then, because I had moved all my vegetables now, since I wasn't doing the potato soup anymore. I moved that all to my 3rd fueling, then regular lean and green, and then my dessert fueling at night. And I did that for 2.5 weeks. And then last week I was like, I'm done. Like, I just mentally, I was literally done with fuelings. Please do not give me anymore. I love the potato soup. Don't give it to me anymore. I just don't want it anymore. And so what I did was in the meantime, I had been doing a lot of research of, and you can Google 200 calorie snacks, and you can find lists and recipes of these are things that you can have that fall into that less than 200 calorie range. And lots of them have fruit, lots of them have vegetables. You got lots of things with almond butter and Greek yogurt, and it's all healthy stuff. There's tons and tons of ideas out there. And I was just like, okay, so I swapped out of the Optavia oatmeal. I have found a product called Better Oats, 100 calorie oats. I can get it at Kroger. You can buy it on Amazon. You can buy it on Target.com. It's 100 calories. It is very close in macros to the Optavia oatmeal. It's not quite as much protein, but it doesn't have those soy chunks in it that I tolerate in the Optavia oatmeal. But this is really, really good. It's got flaxseed and oats, and it only has 18 grams of carbs. Any other oatmeals that I found out there, any keto oatmeals, they were all like 28 grams of carbs. And when you're used to having 11 grams of carbs, 28 just like makes my mind explode. I just can't, right now I can't think about eating something with that many carbs in it intentionally. So I swapped out my Optavia oatmeal for that. So that was fueling number 2, still with the fruit. So that didn't change. My same protein, vegetables, Wasa crackers in the middle of the day. And then my afternoon was typically cottage cheese and vegetables. I can get that with a light cheese stick, like a string cheese, a light string cheese, like all that together was like right around 200 calories, which was perfect for where I wanted to be, my lean and green. And then I made these very yummy, and I'm going to record a video of this because my husband actually likes them. They are oatmeal bars that are a little softer than a granola bar. And they are a little firmer than Energy Bites, but they're kind of along the lines of Energy Bites if you've ever had those before. It's literally oats, bananas, almond butter. There's something else in there. Maple syrup. It's like maybe a half a cup of maple syrup. It's either a quarter cup or a half a cup of maple syrup. It's not a whole lot. About a half a cup of chocolate chips are in there, and a tiny bit of baking soda. And let me tell you, they are amazing. And it makes 12 bars, and one bar is like 180 calories. So in one of those bars is macro equivalent to the Optimal Health bars that you can buy, the strawberry yogurt bar and the chocolate dream bar, which are good. I actually have some of those, and I've actually tried the strawberry yogurt bar for the first time last night, and it was really good. So I'm not opposed to those, but I prefer to not get my food in a package as much as I possibly can. I will, if I can find a way to have oatmeal that I can make myself that's not 30 grams of carbohydrates for a serving, then I'm going to do it, because I don't like to have artificial sweeteners, and there's sucralose in that Better Oats. But they're better than the Optavia oatmeal. And so I'm just, for right now, I'm just going to do that until I can do the research and find a recipe that's going to work well for me. So
I'm sorry to interrupt, Lizabeth.
No,
This
please
is
do.
Carrie. I'm not able to be on video, but
Sure.
when you were talking about the oatmeal, I have a pretty severe soy allergy, so I'm limited to choose from about 20 fuelings. So I've been doing this since January, and I will say I kind of paused for the summer, but I've maintained a 26-pound loss, and I'm kind of trying to get the last 10 or 12 off. And that's why I'm thinking, I don't know, I might actually start transition, because I know I still lose through that time. But my particular question is that oatmeal that you're speaking about, the Better Oats, you said it doesn't have the soy chunks in it. Does it have soy in it at all? Do you know on the ingredient list? Like, I can have soy lecithin, things like that, but I can't have soy protein.
Let me grab a box, just a second.
Thank you.
Yep. Oh, I don't have the box. I threw the box away.
That's okay. I can Google it. I just didn't know if you knew off the top of your head.
Oh, I don't.
Okay.
I don't think that it does. I'm pretty sure that it's really just like oats and flax and whatever is in there. There's cinnamon and.
Well, that's great. I'll look it up. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. It's actually very delicious. And I am not an advocate for fueling alternatives, but sometimes you got to do what you got to do. The other thing I was going to say about as you're trying to figure out what to eat, as far as like fueling replacements, on pages 278 and 279 in the Habits of Health book is a list of, I think they are 100-calorie, low glycemic kind of fueling options. And those are there because this program can be done without Optavia fuelings at all. So you can choose to do this kind of on your own. And if you were to do this on your own, these are the options to follow. But it is not alternatives to, oh, I ran out of fuelings, I'm going to follow this list instead, because it just doesn't have the same balance. So please don't go back and forth. That's not at all what I'm saying. I don't want to say that at all. So when I was getting to thinking about maintenance, because of course, you should only stay on transition for a short period of time. There are some people who it may take them 12 to 18 weeks, maybe, at the most. I spent 6 weeks. I've heard people say, well, I've been in transition for a year, and I don't know why you would still be in transition, or have you transitioned and you're really in maintenance, but you're not, like, I don't understand that. But, maybe somebody who's in that situation can enlighten me on that. But really get through the transition process and start thinking ahead. So you're going to go to, there's a link to the TEE calculator. If I will, on the Zoom, when I post this recording, I will put the link. I gave it to somebody on a Facebook group today, to the calculator that I used. It's basically the same thing that Optavia uses, but the thing that I liked about the one that I used, and if you want to message me or post it on a Facebook group, I'll post it again on there. Not only does it help you figure out your total energy expenditure, the total number of calories you should eat to maintain your weight loss based on your age, your height, your weight, your activity level, male or female. Like, it uses a bunch of different factors and says, like, so for me, it's like somewhere between 17 and 1800 calories. But not only does it tell you that, it also gave me macro ranges for high carb, medium carb, and low carb. So if I want to follow a low carb plan, this is my range for protein, fat, and carbs. If I want a moderate carb, which is really what you're getting on Optavia, is moderate carb, protein, fat, and carbs for that level, or high carb if you're an athlete and you need to have extra carbs. But that's what I really liked about that calculator, because it helped me to figure that out. And then I had talked about this in the last Elements meeting. I downloaded the app that's called Prosper, and it is spelled Prospre. So it's not PER like you think, but Prospre. And you can set that and tell it how many calories you want. And you can also, has little slides for the macros, so you can kind of adjust that to where you want it to be. And you can tell it how many meals you want. I think for the free, which is what I have, the free program, it automatically gives you 3 meals and 2 snacks, but you can there's actually an option at the bottom of each day to add a snack in if you want to add another snack. So you're still eating 6 times a day. You just enter the foods that you're eating, and it tells you protein, fat, and carbs for all of your meals. It gives you the daily rundown, and it just helps you to keep track. So I started doing that at about week 5. I did some week 4 because that was the week we were on vacation, so I didn't really follow it tremendously, but I tried. And now I am definitely entering everything that I eat, and I do sometimes even enter everything at the beginning of the day if I know what I'm going to have for that day. And it just kind of helps me to see, do I need to tweak something? Do I need to, instead of having 2 cheese sticks, do I need to back off to 1? Instead of having, can I add something to another meal? Today, my dinner was much higher in calories than I normally do. And that was because I had a glass of wine. Thank you very much. And I had sweet potatoes and Brussels sprouts because this was a celebration for me. It was all about, yay, I made it through this. And so my dinner was much higher in calories, but I just backed off on things earlier in the day so that I still was staying within the same calorie range. The other thing I was going to say, and then I'm going to let you guys ask questions, is I love to watch like cooking videos and people doing taste tests. I'm a real food person, and it doesn't bother me at all to watch people eat things. And there's a girl that I watch. I say she's a girl. She's probably 30 something, I don't know, she's still a girl to me, who is a professional eater. She used to be a bodybuilder, or she still is a bodybuilder, I don't know, but she's a professional eater. And so she goes to restaurants and does like food challenges where it's like, eat this gigantic hamburger and pile of French fries and try to do it in 45 minutes or whatever. And she often gets asked the question, she answers this all the time, how does she stay so thin? She is tiny. She is a little bit of a thing. And she can eat an entire 26-inch pizza in like 30 minutes. Like, no. So how does she stay so thin? Well, she says she doesn't have a daily calorie limit. She has a weekly calorie limit. And she knows that if she eats 15,000 calories, if she has her whole week, she can have, I don't know, 20,000 calories. I don't know. Say she can have 20,000 calories in a week. If she eats 10,000 calories in one day, then that means the remaining 6 days, she only has 10,000 calories to divide over those 6 days. So she's only going to eat like 1,200 calories a day to make up for that big cheat day that she has. And that's how she does it. And that makes a lot of sense, in that, not that I would ever do what she does, but it should help to kind of settle your nerves about holidays, special events. What's going to happen if I go out with friends and we have Mexican and I decide I'm going to have a burrito? What's going to happen? Well, you just balance the rest of the week. Like, don't stress about that. If you've been on Optavia and you've been following this program, you know how to take the weight off. You know that if you eat 6 small meals, if you eat 6 meals that are like 100 calories and one that's like 400 calories for 5 or 6 days, you're going to drop 5 pounds. It just is how it happens. So relax and don't panic about maintenance and transition and maintenance, because if you trust the program, if you follow the program, it really does work. It's not as scary as you think it is, right? And honestly, I'm here. I really am here. You guys know that. You can message me, private message me. My phone number is available in a few places if you look hard enough. I've had people call me. Please reach out to me. I don't care that I'm not your coach. I will coach you. And I don't need to be your coach to be your coach. I want everybody to have as much success on this program as I have. Like, I am in awe of the changes that I've been able to make. And I truly believe that you guys can do this too. I really do. So hit me up with your questions. I am not I'm not an expert. I have just finished transition myself, but I have finished transition, and there are a lot of coaches out there that can't say that. So I did finish transition, and today was my first day of maintenance, and I have one more fueling left to go, and I'm looking forward to it. But I'm happy to answer questions. So you might have to unmute yourself, because I muted a whole bunch of you who are making noise in the background.
I have a quick question, Elizabeth.
Sure.
Because one of the things that Optavia is always talking about is how many vitamins and all that are in the fuelings. So once you went through transition, have you added vitamins or anything to your regime?
I have. And I am still kind of researching the best options, because I don't think really what I'm taking. I'm taking like 1 a day woman's vitamin right now, because that was on the Walmart shelf and I just wanted to start taking something. I know that quality is important when it comes to vitamins. So I am doing some research, but a multivitamin definitely should be a replacement. I'm also looking into probiotics that are not going to set me back $200 a month. I think that is important. I did not take a probiotic before, but I think my body is really used to them at this point. And so I am doing some research into that as well. And as I find things out, I will definitely post and share. But right now I'm just taking a regular multivitamin. I'm also taking some vitamin B. I don't know why I have it. And so I'm just taking it.
Yeah.
And I probably should be taking vitamin D now that it's getting into the winter time. That's always, we do as women, especially too, we tend to be a little low in D and probably calcium,
Yeah, and well, those of us who live in what we call the upper left, look at your map, the upper left.
Yeah.
It's, if you could see out here, we have a short summer and it's gray, and everyone here has to take D, absolutely has to.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, but I was curious because when I look at the Optavia packages, I'm like, oh, how am I going to bring all this in once I transition?
Yeah.
So,
yeah,
I'm surprised that Optavia, with all they've come out with on the active line, that they haven't come out with with their own vitamins for people who go through transition and optimization.
I think that that is probably coming. I would not be surprised at all if it's coming. Andy, there is a transition page. It is, if you go on Facebook and you go to transition to living from Optavia, is my transition page. It'll be transition/maintenance. It's just called transition. And another very sweet friend, Sylvia Hogan. I don't know, many of you are friends with Sylvia. She is an awesome person, and she is in the process of figuring out a maintenance page as well. And she's been an Optavia coach. She's more of a nutrition, lifestyle, health coach in general. She's an amazing person. And if you ever have a chance to talk to her, you have needs, and you need to talk to somebody about that, she's a great person. Sylvia Hogan. I think Hogan is her last name. Anyway, she's amazing. And I firmly believe in her. So she's a good person. I'm looking to see if I can find her name in here. Yeah, Sylvia Hogan. Yeah, so any other questions? That's good.
No, this has been awesome. And the fact that you continued to lose weight gives me lots of hope.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I'm still eating, right now, my daily calories are still 13, maybe 1,400 calories. And if my TEE is close to 18, then that means I'm still 400 calories below what my body's burning in a day, which means I shouldn't be gaining weight, and I should still be losing some. So that's still the plan. And I've also increased my activity. I have a recumbent bike, and I'm working on getting on that a couple of times a day, at least for 10 minutes at a time here and there, trying to take some walks when I have the chance to do that. I'm going to be walking a 5K race with a friend of mine in February. So I'm active that I wasn't active before. I mean, there's no way I wouldn't have even dreamed of walking 5K. So
what are you going to end up eating in essence? Get that 400 calorie.
Yeah, 6 ounces.
Get up there.
Yeah, I don't know, Lisa. That's. I think that I'm going to kind of sit at this calorie range for, I would say,
Bread?
a couple of weeks, and see how I do, and then maybe add some extra dairy, maybe add an extra grain. Right now I'm just having those 2 Wassa crackers as grains. Maybe I'll try to add something first thing in the morning to add some grain there. I'm already having oatmeal, so I don't really know. It's really hard because I'm not hungry for anything more. I don't feel like I'm missing out on anything. So I don't know if I can look at that 1,800 calories as that's the maximum, and I need to stay below that. So it's okay if I hang out at 1,400. I guess I kind of have to just see if I continue to lose weight and I get down to a weight where I feel like, oh no, I don't want to keep losing. I need to do something so that I maintain, then I'll worry about it. But right now, if I lost another even if I lost another 10 pounds or 20 pounds, it probably wouldn't be, I don't know, 20 pounds would be a lot for me. My weight, what I weigh now is about 5 pounds, maybe about 8 pounds from what I weighed when I got married. But I also have to remember I have skin that I didn't have when I got married, and having come from over 300 pounds, I probably have 15 pounds of skin under my arms, my boobs that are deflated balloons, my stomach, my thighs. Like if I were to get rid of all of that, it probably would be 15, maybe 20 pounds, which means I'm considerably below what I weighed when I got married. If I were to deduct that amount, which, maybe I can do that mentally anyway. What else? Other questions?
How do you, Elizabeth?
Yes.
I'm Joni.
Hi,
This is the
Joni.
first time I've been on here, but I've been watching you for a long, long time. And I really appreciate everything that you share with us. And I've been at a stalemate, and it's definitely in my head. And I just, part of it is just exactly what you just said. I don't want to deal with the extra skin, because I was well over 315, when I first started, and I lost, and now I had lost down to 175. It wasn't that bad, but it was 10 years ago when I was not 70. And I guess I'm just afraid. And so my mental is saying, I'd rather have, and this is me fessing up, to it. My mental is saying, I'd rather deal with just the way I am right now, because I've lost like 50 pounds and I'm happy with that. But yeah, tell me a trick to get out of my head, because I'm tired of I'm maintaining.
Yeah.
I'm in maintenance, but at a higher thing than I should be. But
instead of looking at, I think I tell clients, and I tell people this all the time, don't give yourself a big goal, give yourself a little goal. And so, say I'm going to lose 5 pounds and see how I feel after that.
Yeah.
After you lose that 5 pounds, maybe hang out there for a couple of weeks, and then I'm gonna lose another 5 pounds, and go at it a little more gradually. Thanks, Andy. And just kind of do little bits at a time, instead of saying, well, I've got 25 pounds to lose, or I have 50 pounds to lose. That can be overwhelming, and you can say, oh, I don't know that I'm going to like how I look if I lose that much. Well, just do a little bit, go a little bit, and see how you feel about how you look there. And then if you lose another 10 pounds or another 15 pounds and you say, oh, I don't like how I look here, then you're going to hang out there for a little while. You give your body time to adjust. It can take a couple of years for, once you lose weight, for your body to do much adjusting. I'm trying not to worry about my saggy baggy elephant thighs right now because I know, you know, with some walking and, you know, muscle development and time, hopefully they won't look so bad next year.
Go by your blood work instead of the scale, Joni. It'll, you know, because it's about health. It's really not. I mean, I've got the thighs and the arms and all that because I've lost 100 pounds, and so I just don't look in the mirror, and I just like how I look in my clothes, and my doctor is ecstatic. And it's about health. It's not about how you look, which is real. That's a hard transition, let me tell you. But, you know, go by your, my only advice is go by your health.
Well, in that case, I'm perfect.
Well, there you go. Perfect.
But
No problem.
yeah. Thanks. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah. My doctor did say that my labs were perfect. He says, Joni, you're perfect. And I'm going, okay. I'm glad. My blood pressure is wonderful. I swim. I've increased it from like 2 laps and water aerobics to now I have gotten up to 38 laps. So it's almost half a mile.
Oh my
But
God.
and I go 3 to 4 times a week. But so you're saying I'm okay, huh?
It sounds like you're perfect. I mean, I won't get in a bathing suit to go to the local pool. So, hey.
I did not want to get in it, but I saw a 73-year-old lady swimming for an hour.
Wow.
And she climbed up the side of the pool. And I'm going, well, you know, if she's doing that, maybe I can too. And it's where it started. It's where it started. But so
snails and
what?
turtles.
Pardon me?
I said baby steps, snails and turtles. That's what my brother always tells me. Snails and turtles. Take it slow.
Well, I increased it by 1 lap every time. And then towards like 17, I added 3.
Wow.
And then I added a few more, you know, time, if the time was available. Yeah. But
oh, good. Anybody
thank
else
you,
have
ladies.
questions? You're welcome. Anyone else?
Me.
Mary
Go
Jo
for it.
has her hand up.
Oh, Mary Jo, go for it.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Nice to meet you.
You too.
I get a little overwhelmed thinking about transition. I'm really interested in the bars that you mentioned and would really like that recipe because I just want, personally, I think that Optavia, although I've dropped 35 pounds and that's what I needed to do, I could go another 5 pounds and I'm back on 5 and 1 just to get rid of those 5 pounds. That would get me to the BMI. I'm only 410. So I have to get down to 115 or around there. I'm almost 65. But anyway, I'd like that recipe. And where would I go to find it if you post it?
So when I do it, and I might just go ahead and record it this weekend because I should have time to do it this weekend. Are you on my YouTube channel?
No,
Okay.
I don't believe so.
Okay, so I have a YouTube channel that's called Living in the Light. If you go,
oh, you know what? I have seen you on that. I have seen you. Yes. Okay.
so, I mostly all I've done in the last couple of months is just my reality checks because I kind of ran out of steam for fuelings, and I think I did all the fueling hacks that I possibly could do. And when I teach online, and so when school started this year, I just really didn't have a lot of time for doing videos because now that I'm teaching and grading papers, but I'm going to really try to get some more lean and green recipes done and do those bars and I found a few other recipes that I want to make to try. So I will post that. And I'll post the link on the Facebook groups. And once I do that, it'll be on the transition page. And so transition, I probably will not put it on the newbies group just because that will confuse all of the newbies who will think that they can have those too. But I also have a Facebook group. I don't know if you're in the Living in the Light Facebook group. So I've got the channel, the YouTube channel, Living in the Light, but I also have a Facebook group called Living in the Light, which is just me. It's just my personal Optavia, not really Optavia, it's just my personal page. I have my own page as well, but it's just one other page. It originally was back when I did Whole30, it had started out as was called Color Your Food, and then I just changed the name of it. So I'll post that on there too, because I'll do a lot of my maintenance stuff on there too.
I have used your recipes for the pizza crust.
Oh, good.
Remember, I liked all of those, but I think Optavia is really very expensive, and I really want to get to regular food and start making my own stuff.
Look, I am not a processed food person, so to do processed foods for 67 weeks was a big deal for me. So
yeah,
but it was worth it. So totally worth it. I do not regret it one bit, but I'm really glad to be not eating out of a package anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm glad for that.
Well, thank you very much. I'll
You're
look that up.
You're welcome. Anybody else have a question? Jean Lisa, my egg bite lady. What you got for me?
Hey.
Hi.
So here we are. Thank you so much again.
Of
I listened
course.
to you on the drive from the hospital, and that's a wonderful thing, but I can't participate because I'm driving.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, here we are, and I'm home, and I'm finding, and I don't know if anybody else is finding this, my mind is tired of calculating things. And the macros, I can't wrap my mind around that. I really can't. I mean, I've been doing things according to the rules, according to the book, according to the guide. I've lost 65 pounds. I feel great. My skin is falling off a little bit, but oh well. But I can't. I did transition, and I spent 10 weeks in transition because I was scared to death to step outside of it. I really was. I felt addicted to fuelings, I think.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I got over that, but I can't wrap my mind around the macros. I'm having so much trouble. I gave up on the MyFitnessPal. That thing was just way too much for me. I am interested in the app that you're discussing, though. And if you could put that out there on a post or something, or I could write it down. What was it called again?
Called Prosper. It's spelled Prospre.
Is it user friendly?
I'm sorry?
Is it user friendly?
It's very user friendly. And I use the free version. So I didn't pay for it because I wanted to try it before to see if I actually needed to have the paid version. And I don't think I do. So you can set it to the number of calories you want, and you can actually change the macros and kind of set the macros to where you want them to be. So you can message me afterwards so that I will send you the link to the TEE calculator that I found that not only gives you your calorie range, but it also gives you your macro range. So the one that that Optavia uses doesn't do that. It just tells you the number of calories. And that's, I love Optavia. I truly love Optavia, but I really think they don't do enough to help with transition.
I have to admit you.
Or maintenance, and they just kind of leave you. And I don't know if that's by design, because they want you to come back and buy fuelings, or if it's because it just is too difficult to get the information into the hands of the coaches. I don't know why it is the way that it is, but that's why I'm doing this. And that's why I have the Facebook group, because it's not rocket science, but they make it feel like it is, and it really is not. So I will get you that calculator. Send me a message, I'll send it to you. And that will help you once you can see what your fat, protein, carb range needs to be. You can kind of set those sliders on the Prosper app, and then just keep an eye as you're adding your foods throughout the day. You know, just kind of keep an eye on how, you know, making sure that you kind of got a balance of protein and carbohydrates. You're not going overboard, and kind of adjust as you. Yes, I will do that. I will definitely post both of those. You just kind of have to play around with it and adjust it throughout the day. And that's why I like that one, because I can go back and delete things or add things. I can put in everything that I'm going to eat for the whole day. And then I know kind of where I need to play around, like, oh, I'm going to end up with too many calories, so let me delete this, or I'm not going to have enough, so I need to add something here. Where can I add calories? Like yesterday, I was only going to end up with like a little over 1,000 calories. And I was like, well, I gotta have to add some cheese sticks in here somewhere. And I'm gonna have to add, like, I was able to add so that I got my calories up during the day. And that's what I liked about that app.
So is it taking it? Do you feel as though it takes some of the mental gymnastics out of this for you?
It does. It
Okay.
definitely.
And I have to agree with you. I love Optavia. I mean, I love the program. I love the way it's set up. I love what it's done for me. But I personally, my biggest fear from day one was what is going to happen in transition and maintenance. And that it just was always on my mind.
Yeah.
Now that I'm there, I would really like to better understand how to incorporate this into a healthy lifestyle, as opposed to being so attached to fuelings and the books. You know, I want to live a little bit and cook. I'm a cook. I love to cook. And how do I do that? And, you know, I'm trying. My little victory the other day was I actually made something. I made something that I created on my own. And I'm like, oh boy, I hope I didn't blow it. But I was happy.
Yay. That's good.
And thank you again.
Sure. You're welcome. You're welcome. Anybody else? Let's see. So is it Willia? I hope I said that right. Or Willia. If you will message me on Facebook, I will send you the links to the link to that TE calculator that will help you figure that out. And then once I get the oatmeal bar, that'll get posted too as well.
That would be great to do on a thing that we can watch.
Yeah,
I do better when I can watch you do something.
Okay, I will see if I can. I know that the app is on my phone, so I'm not sure how I can do that.
I don't know what's wrong with my throat. When you do the cooking videos,
yes,
I enjoy those because, you know, I'm a visual learner.
Yeah.
And so that would be great. Are you doing a Thanksgiving anything? Video?
People have requests for Thanksgiving recipes. I do have 2 already on my channel, the green bean casserole and the cauliflower stuffing. I did those last year.
Okay.
But I'm thinking about doing some others as well too. So hopefully in the next.
Okay. Well, I'll look those up.
All right. Anybody else?
Elizabeth, I just want to say thank you.
Yes, that's what I was going to say. Thank you. This has been amazing and so helpful. Really appreciate it.
Again, I'm not an expert at all, but I've done it. And so I may not be an expert, but I have some experience. And 67 weeks on 5-1 does kind of a lot too. So
Yeah, but you're our expert.
I am your expert.
Most definitely.
And I'm so happy to share, and knowing that I am encouraging other people and helping other people to not be afraid. Please don't be afraid. Reach out to me if we need to talk one-on-one. I'm happy to talk one-on-one with you. Friday, Saturday, and Sunday are my best days for doing that. So please do feel free to reach out to me. Message me questions. I'll do my best to find you answers. And yeah.
I just wanted to say that I feel more prepared going into transition, even though I'm still a few months away from it. I wish I had found you before I started on program, because the way you helped me prepare, I wish I had found you a couple of months before I started. So I would have been totally mentally prepared for everything. The first week, I was not. And so I'm happy I found you when I did. And so when I do transition, I feel 100% confident. And I'm so grateful to you. I am really, really grateful to you for doing this. Yeah, you are just awesome, Lizabeth. Thank you so much.
I think that we all found each other at the right time. I probably wouldn't have been the person to help you back when you needed earlier help. I think we are prepared to share when we are ready to share. And I think I feel like I have been given a little mission, and I'm very grateful for it. And I'm so grateful for you guys and the little community, and just the friends that I feel like I've made through this program, and just being able to share. And it's how important it's been to me. So yeah.
This is all subject, but I love those kitty cats roaming around.
Yeah. So that's Moxie. It weighs about 5 pounds, but she's supposedly a Maine Coon mix. I don't know. She has all of the markings of a Maine Coon, but the size. And then there's Milo, who literally weighs 18 pounds. He's got Russian blue in him. He is a heavy cat, and he will jump from the windowsill. Like you can see the windowsill. We've got 3 windows across here. And he'll jump from the windowsill above the bed onto the bed in the middle of the night. And he doesn't just like gently, he hits the end of the bed and flies off the end. It's just like, dude, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Just be gentle, but no. So, but if you come to the house, you will never see her. She hides under the bed. She does not let people see her. So the only way you'll ever see her is on video. And she's the one who shows up on my videos all the time. Like she shows up all the time. Like if you only knew people actually are looking at you. So, all right. Anything else? Slowly, but
Thank you very much.
Dwindling away.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome, guys.
Good night.
Have a good night, guys.
And I'd like to tell you something, Lizabeth.
Sure.
Once we're off a video, or
okay. All right, I'll stop the recording.